fourth practice, I believe, second in full pads. Got a lot of work to do. Like the guys, I thought the first half of practice they were still on spring break mentally, and then the second half of practice was pretty good, but a lot of corrections to do. But as I told them, other than 12 or 13 guys that'll be here in the summer, our team is pretty much here. So we're going to try to get as much as we can done in the next couple of weeks, have some fun in the spring festival on April 18th, and go from there.
Rich, I know, again, everything we're asking is, it's really, really early. But have you identified maybe a strength or two for this club, or is that not even possible?
I think it's a little early. I think we're athletic, more athletic at most positions, including quarterback. I mean, I think all the quarterbacks can run pretty well. We're going to be a little deeper probably at wide out than we have been. I think we're going to be deeper on the O-line. And I like the freshman class we signed. There's going to be some really good players there. Defensively, there's a whole lot of new guys. We do a lot of stuff on defense, so it's still taking them a little bit of a while. But their attitude's been great. Those guys our strength staff did a good job. They tested well a couple weeks ago. But now it's learning how to practice. And I know we're not probably a whole lot different than other people, but when I have practice, I want everybody that's in our program, staff-wise, player-wise, to be totally engaged in every play at practice. I mean, that's the most important thing in the world to them at that time. And that's not, I hate to go to practice and watch coaches or staff members or players like they don't know the down and distance. They don't see a buddy do something good or something bad. Don't get corrected by somebody else's mistakes. And that was kind of my message today, that if one guy's getting coached, they're all getting coached. And I've been to practices or seen practices where people in the program weren't engaged like they should have been in practice, and that bothers the heck out of me. That, if you're a part of our program, you are engaged at every play in practice like it's a Super Bowl. And we're still learning to do that.
I know you want to improve the run game greatly from where it was last year, so you put a lot of resources into your offensive line to do that. So do you think you got return on that? Does that look like it's promising?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to be better up front. I got second year for some of the guys in the system. Coach Trickett's been in the system for a long time, so he's really comfortable in teaching what we want. Some of the new guys we certainly think are making an impact, because we got a couple of really good freshmen that'll be ready, I think, and then we got some transfers that are grown men. So and we got quarterbacks that can run, including the ones that are coming back. So I think the running game's got to be better. That's got to be better, and that's pretty obvious.
Can you speak to the relationship between a play caller and an offensive line coach, and the synergy that's involved there, and why it's so important to have your guy running the O-line?
Well, synergy's that's a big word for you. I mean, you're going to, I had a great degree from here, but I'd have to look that up and see what the hell that means. Synergy. I've never considered my relationship with Coach Trickett as synergetic, or with any O-line coach. It's like, here's the play, coach them up. But the fact that we've been together for many years, we kind of know where the bodies are buried and the traps are laid. We kind of know how they're, what the answers to the problem, how to coach to that, and that helps. But that wasn't the major problem last year. I think we didn't play well up front. We didn't run well. We remember we got a whole bunch of dudes hurt running back, and that certainly didn't help. So our running back depth took a big hit, and hopefully we'll be luckier with that coming up. But there should be a comfortability with all the offensive staff and the defensive staff being the second year in the system.
When you first met him, you remember? You recall?
Yeah, it was when I was at Glenville State, and I can remember. I think the first time when I had a coaches clinic at Glenville, little old Glenville State in Glenville, West Virginia, and my buddy Ike Morris was buddies with Rick Trickett. I had known who he was, but I'd never met him. And Rick came to speak. I don't remember where he was at then. some big school. But he came to speak at Glenville, not because he knew me, because he did us a favor for our buddy Ike, and then we got to be friends, and so that relationship started there. We probably had the best clinic in the country for Division II. Coach Trickett, Jimbo came down. I had some other Division I coaches came in, so it was a big-time clinic for the Pioneers at the time. That's when we first met.
So there was no overlap from when you were a young player to when he was a coach otherwise?
No, he wasn't here. He was on the staff before I was here, before I walked on here, but he wasn't on the staff then. And so we had, how many years together were we here? Was it 5 or 6, I think? 6 years, yeah. So he's 6 years with me, and then get reunited at Jack State, and that was a good time. So, but he's good. Obviously, he's very good at what he does. And we have 3 line coaches really: Derek Dressler and Trey Brown, who played for me. They're all, they're really good coaches. And I think there's a certain level of maturity with the guys that we got and the guys we got coming back. Landon Livingston, Nick Cray, those guys have a lot of really good experience. So we should be taking a good step forward with that.
Rich, the tight end room, you said is one of the most important positions other than like the quarterback on the offense. You added some or not the hardest to learn, you said, but you added some veteran guys from some big schools. Where do you think you're at with that room? And there's some young guys coming back too.
Yeah, we've done a lot more 11 and 12 personnel than we have in the past, and we probably continue. We even did some 13 personnel with 3 tight ends, and part of it was by, we were getting running backs hurt and receivers hurt, so we had tight ends healthy. But part of it is also we thought it gives us a little flexibility with what we want to do offensively, and so we brought some veteran presence in there. Ryan is the most experienced guy, kind of leader of the group, but I like where we at right now. They're still learning. The physicality with the tight ends is the next step. Coach Nice does a good job with them guys, but I want to have 5. I want to travel with 5. We're gonna play 3 in every game, but we'll travel 4 or 5 of them if they're ready to play.
You mentioned the wideouts. You feel like you have a little more depth there. How about the guys that you signed in the offseason? Francis being one of them. What does he bring?
Yeah, Teron just got back to practice because he wasn't practicing because he was hurt. And he just got to practice today, and we're playing him both in the slot and outside. He's a big physical guy, got great running skills, and so we'll try to find ways to get him the ball. It helps to have Jaden Bray healthy. Jaden, we thought was going to be one of our best guys when he got hurt, and he's kind of the leader of the room right there. And having DJ Epps and some of these other guys that have been productive somewhere else has helped. And so we're I think the competition in that room, and again, we had some guys banged up last year, whatever, but the competition is a whole lot better in that room, I think.
Rich, you had officials today. I don't know if it's the first time you've had it this spring, but what do you learn when you
Well,
have officials on the
what I'm
field?
learning is I got to let them have enough confidence in themselves to throw a flag. Because sometimes they'll throw it, but they won't blow their whistle. And that's not their fault. I haven't made it clear that if you're coming and you're getting a free meal, and I don't know what we're giving them, blow that whistle, throw that flag. I want them to be, because I appreciate them coming here, and they know the game, so I want them to, you can't, simulate game intensity at practice, but I try to, and it helps to have the officials there to help that.
Yeah, it's a specialist, Rich, obviously in the offseason. How do you feel about you are in those rooms right now?
Yeah, tomorrow is going to be mostly a special teams practice. I think we have some guys that got strong legs. They kicked okay today. Our consistency in our field goals and our punts and stuff, we'll evaluate that probably in a couple weeks. So we're going to have I've never done, I don't know if I've never done this. I haven't done this very often. I'm going to have a draft on, what's the date? April 7th. We're going to have a draft, split the staff up, have a draft, and have like a blue and gold team or blue and white team, and try to create a true game like against each other, And so the first game we play is not, next September. We're trying to get a true game and have our coaches get used to that way. So we'll have a little fun with that draft. I'll let you know how it sorts out.
Do you have to watch your numbers with specialists now that rosters are smaller? Used to be you'd have 15 walk-ons kicking and stuff. You probably can't do that now, right?
Well, you don't have as many specialists. I guess you're going to have 2 kickers, 2 punters, 2 snappers. You might have a third kicker, and that's about it. So you hope that the guys that you have are able to do it. Now, I think, what I've seen in practice, from a ability standpoint, no, they have that.
Coach Trickett, he's obviously had success at a lot of levels. You've been at many of those levels
Now I
too.
know why. I was just wondering why all the Trickett questions. Because he's coming to talk at me. So you're setting it up, all right? What if I said, well, he ain't worth a flip, blah blah blah? Would you change your mind? No, he's a great football coach and longtime friend. But go ahead. What were you saying?
In regards to his success at various levels, I mean, what is it that I guess drives him to have been successful at the highest levels as well as back to the Division II?
Yeah, I think he just loves coaching football. And the biggest thing about Coach Trickett is that, he's a hard driving kind of a discipline. You kind of got to do it a certain way. But there's nobody that I'm telling you, and this is part of his success. There's nobody that looks after his guys more than Rick Trickett. I'm talking about like every day, what they're going to do, how they're living, being disciplined. I mean, there's a reason why so many guys that he's had that have gone on to play in the NFL and had success, yet still keep in touch with him, still appreciate what he's done. I mean, I think all coaches want that, but for him to do it as long as he's doing it and to still want to have that drive to coach. I mean, we all have, coaches want to be like, I want to be the best line coach here. I want to be the best receiver coach. I want to be the best DB coach. Well, they all say that, but do they truly take the steps and have proven that over the years? It helps to have a couple old dudes in here with gray hair. I got a lot of really good young coaches, but I'm an old guy now. Imagine that. I'm an old guy, Mike. I was a young guy, Mike and Mike. I'm an old guy now. Trick's an old guy now. Who else is an old guy? You two, yeah, these guys, Mike and other Mike, and probably Deke. No, Deke's not really that old. Yeah, Chris is 10 years younger. Yeah, Chris Herring. So there's not many. I got a lot of good young guys, but it's good to have some gray hair in the room. You know what I mean?
Rich, going back to the offensive line and the running backs, I mean, you said you want, looking for improvement in both, obviously, but can the running backs help the line look better just by making
hell
guys
yeah,
miss?
it
I mean,
makes somebody
looking back
miss.
at your best backfields, it seemed like that was a big part.
The only issue it's not an issue, but sometimes I forget, the only guy who really played is Cam. And you could tell that in practice today. The running backs, you could tell how fast they hit the hole and how they press on the blocks, and the whole thing is Cam kind of understands it. The rest of them, none of them, they're all learning. And so, but that's okay. That's why we have practice. But all the rest of them that we have are young guys, but they're going to be okay. It's just a process. Jay and the rest of the offensive coaches will get those guys right. But it's good to have him for those other guys to kind of see how things are run.
How about linebacker, Rich? How do you feel about what you've seen out of them?
Yeah, I can't tell. 2 days in pads. I mean, today I didn't look like any. We didn't tackle nobody, but I think we're more athletic, maybe at that spot, but we're a long way from finding out who the guys are going to be, and that's okay. I ain't got, I'm hoping. I usually tell you, well, listen, I ain't got to know until end of August. No, I got to know at the end of spring. So, not that we can fix it. It's not like we can can't go in the portal now, right? You get in trouble. There's no more portal. So, but I want to know how much we got to fix at the end after April 18th, and then we'll make the adjustments that we have to.
You mentioned that draft. What kind of made you prompt to do that?
I'm trying to, and I think I've said this before, I'm trying to be our first game with our guys ain't our first game. we don't have any preseason, scrimmage games against somebody else. We can't really compare what we have to somebody else until we play them. And so I usually wasn't worried about it. Now I'm like, we've got to find out before the summer some semblance of a depth chart. It doesn't have to be set in stone because you can move up or down the depth chart in the summer and in August. But we got to have more so than I've ever said, well, we ain't going to have the depth chart. No, we will have a depth chart April 18th. It could be changed a little bit, but we've got to develop that depth chart in the next 2.5 weeks. And having a true game and a draft and the competitiveness of that, I think is going to accelerate that process.
Is that because they can't leave in the portal now? You can have a depth chart because usually.
Oh yeah. If we had another portal, she's like, geez, they're gonna be another 15 like last year. I don't remember what it was, 15 or 20 guys that leave or come. Like I said, we know what our roster is. If our roster changes because somebody's leaving, then somebody tampered. Let's turn their tail in and, you know what I mean, and fine them, suspend them, whatever. You know what I mean? So we know what we got.
So going from that, I'm guessing you are in favor of some of the proposed penalties for coaches and programs that would take somebody that does the end run?
Yeah, somebody does the unenroll and then pay them. I've always said this. I mean, what kind of, like the NCAA, there's a lot of things that NCAA should have been, could have been, can be better at. But some of it is like their frustration is understood too, because you got a rule, and if it break the rule, he's ineligible. Well, they've got to be able to enforce that. That's, are we sitting around here waiting for everybody to sign the CSC thing? That's not going to happen. Those that have $40 million in their NIL, they ain't signing that CSC because they're not doing it because anything other than why would we be the same as them if I can be double their money? Why would they do it? They're not going to do it. Hey, we got a pretty good deal going on right here. We got 40 million, you got 20, or we got 35 million, you got 10. They're not signing anything. All right, so the NCAA's got to have some control. Well, the control from the NCAA is all based on eligibility. You break the rules, you can't play. You have to forfeit, can't play, whatever. That's the only thing they can hold on to. And there's some people out of Tommy Tuberville has some great ideas. I'll get on myself. I don't mind saying it. 5 years of eligibility, 5 to play 5. That's it. You transfer one time, now have to sit out. After that, you got to sit out. Well, what's the thing? Well, you're ineligible. You know what I mean? So, but if they're not going to do that, if everybody's going to sue to get a guy a 5th year, then go to local court, then why wouldn't I do it? I'll tell it to get a couple guys a fifth year. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it's, it'll get fixed eventually, I think, because everybody's got frustration with it. But I'm out, a coach will sit back there and go be frustrated and well, heck with today, I'm going to go play pickleball and not kill, Nope, what's the rules? All right, the rules are the rules. Let's do as well as we can within the rules and try to win a championship. Is that good with you, Mike? Thank you.